All right, welcome back to another Roblox studio programming tutorial. And today we're going to be talking about a module script again, but now how to include functionality inside of these module scripts. So normally in the last video, if you didn't see my introduction to module scripts, please go check that out. That talks all about how to embed variables into module scripts. But module scripts are much more flexible than that and are much more powerful than that. You can also reuse functions inside of module scripts, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. So let's go ahead and create a module script again. Again, if you didn't watch my introduction to module scripts, please go watch that. But I'm going to essentially do the same setup that I did last time. So here again is my game data model. Inside of my game data model, I always recommend that you put your module scripts inside of server storage. It's kind of like it's the storage center for the server, as the name implies, for things like module scripts to be stored and to be called from. So here, I'm going to go ahead and create a module script here, right? Now, all a module script is again, a powerful table. You can kind of think of it like that. Now, whenever you set up your module scripts, just a review from last time, you're going to want to go ahead and have the name here, special name. I'll go ahead and just call this special for now. Actually, a better way to do this is call this my functions. This is what I normally do when I'm coding with module scripts. So my functions, and then here you're also going to want to name this to be my functions. So my functions here, right? Now again, this is a storage center for you to store different things about or different code that you want to reuse. And again, you can call this into a server script. So if I come here and I create a part that is right here, go ahead and move this part up, and I create a script inside of this part, I can now go local my functions, and just like how in other languages like Python you would do imports, Flask, for example, from Flask, right? Just how you would do something like that, you would do the same thing here, except for import, the keyword is going to be required. And this is what pulls the module script. Now this, again, has to be a path. So the path to this module script is going to be from your game model. So game, you're going to go to server storage, and then you're going to go to the module script name, which is my functions. This now allows me to call in whatever I type in here into my server script here, right? The only thing you need is the path variable here. All right, so now let's go ahead and look at how you can use module scripts to essentially create and store functions. And I'm also going to show you a nice little tip that I like to do when I'm programming inside of module scripts. So let me go back to the server script here. This is the server script, so this object right here. Generally, when you're programming inside of server scripts, you get an autocomplete, which is super nice. This autocomplete happens because you assign part as the script parent here. So Lua and Roblox Studio automatically recognizes that you're talking about this right here. And then what happens is you can type in things like parts.canCollide is true, and all of the information autofills here for you because it knows what you're talking about. In module scripts, let's say I wanted to start coding stuff, you don't get that same thing here. If I go local part is the script's parent, this path is not correct. The script parent is server storage. So if I start typing things in, it's going to be really confused here, and it's not going to understand what you're talking about. So a nice way to get around this is to actually create an instance of a part inside of the script. So this right here creates a new instance of the part object, right? Now, whenever I type part into my module script here, I will get the same auto completion that I got inside of the server script. And this is a technique I use a lot because oftentimes, autocomplete helps you, number one, type faster, code faster, but number two, minimize typos. And this is just a nice little trick I like to do. So I'm going to go ahead and do that nice setup here. Later you will delete this and we'll see how to implement code in. So let's go ahead and create again a kill block. If you don't remember how to create a kill block, go check out my fundamental scripts and video where I talk about some fundamental scripts and fundamental programs involving parts that you should know. And then also it's in scripting part events. I think event-based programming is the other one. So go check that video out if you are confused on event-based programming. But anyways, I can essentially create a function here. So parts, let me go ahead and set up the function setup. So I'm going to create my function, and I want this module to now store a function. So my function, actually I think I have to do function, my functions, dot, and then the function name here. So this is how your setup is. So you have function, my function, and then the function name. So I'm going to call this kill block, and I'm going to break parentheses here, and I'm going to click enter. This now creates a function kill block stored within the my functions table, right? Now I can go ahead and start doing my programming. So essentially this will take a part. So this will pass a part variable, which will pass later. But essentially what we want to do is when the part that is passed in here is touched, we want to connect a function to happen. When I do this, whenever a touch event is triggered, the parameter passed will be the part that triggers that touch event, known as other part, inside the Roblox Studio API. But I'll write here touched. So again, this is the part that triggered this touch event. So whenever you have something being touched, something must have touched it. And touched here represents whatever touched it. Okay, so we'll call H here, local H, is the touched dot parent, and we're gonna find first child, humanoid. I have a whole video breaking down this script, so please go check that out. It's event-based programming. If this doesn't make sense, I don't want to explain it all in this video. But essentially, this checks for a humanoid, and then if there's a humanoid, I can now have that humanoid take damage. Right, and I can write in here, where take damage is a method that you can perform with the humanoid object. Okay. You can also write H equals H minus 100 equals H or whatever. You can do a whole bunch of stuff here, but this is normally how I do it. Okay, so what have I done here? I have created a function that is stored inside of this module. This function will require a part, right, as a variable. Now, I created an instance new part here, but I want to get rid of this because this isn't the part I'm talking about. I'm now going to create part here as a parameter. So whenever this is called, right, part represents what is calling it, right? Now I can go ahead and take this and I can put it inside of my script here. So now I can do my functions, and inside of my functions we have the kill block, and then inside a kill block I'm passing parts. This now makes this part a kill block. And this is the whole idea behind using module scripts. Again, I'm combining that functionality here. I'm creating functionality that can now be imported into other scripts. And if I ever want to refactor things, right, the refactoring can now happen here, and it does not have to happen inside of the main script, right? And this is the whole goal of module scripts. So now again, if I start duplicating this lines of code and I start reusing this stuff and I move this up, right? And I'll give you a very, very good example here. Let's say I'm creating an obby, right? Let's say this game was an obby, and I delete the base plate, and I go ahead and try and run and play my game. Oh no, I forgot to anchor my parts. Look at that, right? Instead of having to go back through, and I know you can select and click anchor, but let's say there was hundreds of these parts, not 3, right? Let's say there was 300 of these, right? All you would have to do is come here, and you would just go parts dot anchored is true. Boom, fixed. Refactoring is so much easier, and that is the point of module scripts. And as you can see, my parts are anchored here. I can do a whole bunch of other stuff here. For example, part.color is equal to color3.new, our new instance of color3 here, and now I can make them red, right? And now, whenever I have a kill block, it will now automatically inherit those properties. So now I'm going to go ahead and run here, and as you can see, my parts are red. And this is what makes module scripts so powerful. It's the fact that you can reuse code over and over and over again, and it's packaged very well. So now when I jump on this block here, as you can see, it passes me away. So we're going to be getting a lot more in depth with combining module scripts with metatables, but before that we're going to talk a little bit about object-oriented programming. And if you've gotten this far in the tutorial series, we're really starting to jump into some very cool and practical and fundamental coding concepts. So stay tuned, guys. If you have any questions about this tutorial, then please leave them in the comments. If not, then I'll see you in the next one.